This is Brad with CostToBuild.net. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use our professional estimating tool to customize your bid. In a previous tutorial we exported the data from the house calculator to the professional estimating tool. If you want to see how to do that, watch that tutorial. At this point all these values that are showing came from the house calculator. They have not been changed. And the point of this tutorial is to show you how you can customize this bid to fit your needs. First thing I'm going to do is click on one of the bid items. We'll just select the first one, site work. I click on site work and it takes me to an expanded view of where site work comes from. At this point it's showing a calculated value. It says that's what is put there by default when you come over from the house calculator. We can add more items to this calculated value by clicking the add item button here. If we click that, it adds another line. We can name it and then we can give it a cost. When we put a cost here, it adds that cost to each one of the items already in there. As you can see, our total cost is updated. Other things we can do here is we can put an adjustment factor. This adjustment factor is a percentage of the current cost here. And there's an adjustment factor for material and there's an adjustment factor for labor. So if I put a 10 in here, it'll increase this number by 10%. This stays the same here, but over here the total, it shows it increased by 10%. The other thing I can do is I can add tax if I want to, and that tax will also be added. You can do the same thing for the labor. We don't default to show a labor tax here, but you can select the button up here to show labor tax. It's just not a common item, so we keep it hidden. The other items you could also hide. The material tax and the adjustments can be hidden. If you hide them though, it still uses them to do the calculation, so you need to remember that they're there. So this has got our calculated value. It shows the total. If we go back to the return to summary page, it's updated the total here to reflect that and updated it down through the bid. We're going to go back into site work and show you what other things you can do here. So let's say that we got a bid for site work. Well, we can add a bid group by clicking this button. What that does is adds a whole nother group down here. We're going to call it bid 1. We can put a cost in here. We can put a name for each item, and so we're just going to call this item 1. We're going to give it a cost. We'll say that our material bid was $5,000 and our labor bid was $500. Alright, so we did that. As you'll notice when we did that, the total summary cost down here didn't change. It's still getting this number from up here and totaling it up from up here. So there's a checkbox in front of calculated. That means you want the program to use the calculated value. If we want it to use the bid value, we just need to select the checkbox on the bid. We can add as many bid groups as we want. We can add a bid group 2, and we could add a cost in there. We could say we got a bid for $6,000 and $400 here. Well, we can choose which one of these bids we want to use. If we want to use bid number 2, we select that. Then this cost is updated down at the bottom to be associated with whichever bid group we're using. We can also add bid items within each bid and fill those out. So we're going to let's select bid group 1 and go back to our summary page. See that we're using the bids from bid group 1. The overall total at the bottom is updated to use that bid 1. Okay, Let's go back into SiteWork. Other things you can do. You can actually delete a cell. Let's say we decided we don't want to use this. We're going back to the calculated value. We hit delete. It shades it out. It's not gone, but it's shaded out. When it's shaded out though, it's not using that cost as part of the total. So you can see that that's gone. Once you do click the delete button, there's a plus sign here and another shaded delete button. If you click the plus sign, it brings the bid back and utilizes the cost to calculate the total. Let's hit delete again. If we hit delete one more time, that item is completely gone. But when we do that, you'll notice there's an undo button that appears up at the top. Let's click the undo button and it comes back still shaded. To bring it completely back, we would still have to hit the plus sign. Then it brings it back and uses that to come up with the total. You can do this. We're going to go back to the summary page and click on return to summary. You can do the same thing with any of the categories on the summary page. If you hit delete, shades it out, doesn't use it for the total, hit delete once more, it's gone. You can hit the undo to bring it back. You still have to hit the plus button to make it use it in the summary. Hit the plus button and that item's back. It's important to note, if you use the delete and delete something and then you leave the page and save, if you come back and load your file, your undos are not saved. So if you delete something and you leave, it's gone. If you delete it and shade it out, it's not gone in this state, but if you completely delete it and then come back, it's gone. That's the basics of using the Professional Estimating tool. There's more advanced things you can do, but with that you can get a very customized bid. You can put all your items in for each bid, and then you can come up with a total based on the actual costs that you were able to obtain. Thanks for watching, and look for our other tutorials also.